this is Elishba here, and I am, as promised, talking to you about some really fun clients I've had over the years. And this is the first podcast episode. So this is going to be a lot of fun. And we're also going to be talking about some sensitive topics that women go through in their lives, feel in their lives. So when you are listening to this podcast or watching me, if something comes up that has, triggering feelings for you, make sure you have the support system around you or with you. You can call in case something comes up. But without any further ado, let me go ahead and start the conversation with our first guest, and that is Denise. How are you, Denise?
Good. I'm very good. Honored I'm your first guest. I didn't realize that. Yay.
Well, I was keeping everything music secret.
Just finished another session with you. So
yes, so Denise and I met when she came to me a very long time ago, maybe like 5 years.
Yes. It might have even been longer than that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I totally believe you. And we did a session, and at that time, Denise was just coming out of her show. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually going to let Denise tell you a little bit more about that.
Okay, where do I start? I believe I just, I was a police officer, so I was dealing with all of that, and everything's kind of, as a woman, I kind of have to keep to a certain standard. And then I was also in a bad relationship that I was leaving as well. So there was a lot going on when I came to you. So I'm trying to think of where I should start.
When you came for your photo shoot, what did you have in your mind, and how did you feel as you went through the experience and after the fact?
So when I came to you, I believe, we had been talking, and I was just kind of really reserved and shy to a point because I already felt not heard, and to me, my body was kind of something that was supposed to be hidden. So when I came to you, I had all these feelings of I just wanted to be out in the open, and I wanted people to see. I wanted to see me to begin with. Not even worrying about what other people were seeing. I wanted to see me from a different perspective.
Yeah.
So it was like my coming out of just maybe feeling sheltered and closed off from who I was as a person.
Yeah.
And remember, I wasn't even sure about anything when I came to you.
Yes. I remember everything was just like, you're in this new world, and it's like how a baby is after 6 months. Oh, I can sit. Oh, I can sit.
Yeah, it was just
it was really like a child. You were like,
I was so nervous.
Yeah.
And it was just, and because when it comes to boudoir shoots, everyone thinks it's all sexual too, right? And it's not even about that. It's about empowering yourself.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't understand that part of it.
Yeah.
So they see it in one light. But when I left, I had felt a new confidence that I didn't have before. And I was like, okay, I have an idea of who I am again.
Yeah.
Because I'd lost that. I mean, between work and being a police officer in a uniform all the time. So that was my identity.
Yeah.
And then at home for so many years with 6 kids, that was my identity. And then being a wife, whether or not whatever happened, but that was my identity. But there was no me.
Yeah.
It got lost in everything else that I was doing.
Yeah.
So now it's after that shoot, it was funny because I was like, okay, I know who I am. I can see a bit more of who I am. I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
But it was, and now I'm like, no, this is me.
Yes.
That's just what you get.
Yes. Yes. So you were talking about being a police officer for that many years, and I know when you came to me, you said that you were closer to retirement, and you at the time you were just like, okay, the photos gotta be private until I've completed this part of my life.
Yes.
And then when we reconnected about this recently, you had some stories to tell. So I want to like backtrack a little bit, and because the profession that you chose for yourself is a very male dominated profession. And to this day, there are more men than women in this profession. So, talk to me a little bit about what inspired you to join the force. And when you did, how you felt as a woman in the force. What was your experience?
So I joined back in Toronto in 91. And 93 is when I ended up on the road in, well, actually, beginning of 94, on the road in a uniform. But it was definitely different. Like, for me, most people you talk to, they're like, policing was like, I've always wanted to do that. It was my childhood dream. It wasn't my childhood dream. It was second. I wanted to be out helping the community. I thought more teaching. The policing ended up becoming like the best career choice for me. Like, I love so many things about it, about helping people, kids, adults, everything. But internally, it's a male dominated job. So back when I joined, they're just trying to get more women. And it was, you really had to prove yourself. I had men that just refused to work with me because I was a woman.
Really? Oh my goodness.
And it wasn't until, and also didn't help that I wanted kids and I wanted a family. It has come a long way, but where people don't refuse to work with you now because you're a woman.
Yeah, because if you're a man, you don't have to take care of your kids.
No,
right? It's like the craziest thing. Like, you're a parent, you're a parent.
But I was very reserved too, and I dealt with things differently in policing. So some of the men, I guess, didn't think that I would kind of be there in a stressful situation where, maybe we were in a fight and they didn't know what I would do, so they just refused to work with me. Again, this was like 30 years ago now, though.
Yeah.
So, like I said, they've come a long way, and it wasn't until there was one senior male on the ship, and he was working with me, and we ended up getting into a fight, and I got involved. I didn't freeze like they all thought I was going to. And it wasn't until that point that those ones that refused to work with me would work with me.
Wow. So you really had a completely different criteria for yourself, compared to men on the job. Okay. So this is this is why I'm doing this podcast, to really listen to real life things that women have gone through. So this is, I want to say I'm shocked, but I'm not, it is, but it does say something that even the forces that are supposed to be more open-minded, because you're dealing with so many different things, so many different issues, you still battled with that in that industry. So tell me a little bit more about your experiences later on, and if you have, especially if you want to talk about the incident that we talked about.
Oh, sure.
Feel free to do that. So tell me more about maybe give me like 2 examples of where you felt absolutely empowered on the job, and one example of when you were like, maybe you could talk about that incident, that they're making me feel like I am different and I deserve different because I'm a woman. Where you felt uncomfortable.
Yeah. Okay. So feeling empowered as a woman on the job, there was for me, I was able to keep my identity as a woman to begin with. I didn't try to be like one of the guys. And I mean, there's good points and bad points to that. But for me, some of it was there were, when guys were working with me, other women would complain about things that, were talked about or done in the car. And then they'd ask me, and in front of me, and the same men that they were complaining about would be, I wouldn't do that in front of Denise. But that's because they also realized I wasn't trying to be like one of the guys. So there was a bit of a separation there, because if you're a woman trying to be like one of the guys, then you were treated a bit differently as well.
Okay.
And to the point that even when I was having my family, I was told by one of my superiors that because my family comes first, I wouldn't go anywhere on the job.
Wow.
So that was one of my inferior ones.
Yeah.
But then when the guys worked with me and they respected me enough to not say and do certain things in the car with me, I really appreciated that. But then as a woman, you also, it's what's empowering is that you can go in there and you're helping these other women that are involved in these abusive relationships or controlling relationships. And sometimes it takes time. But you know that you've done a little bit and you help them through it, which is very empowering when it comes to things. And you see somebody get out of the situation.
Yeah.
That's really, really
that validates
it's
you
a
more,
feeling,
right?
right?
Yeah, that you're like helping other women, you're lifting up other women, and there's a reason when women are going through a traumatic, acute situation, they need a woman in uniform, and they don't want to deal with anything that is male, because it's a trust thing, it's an understanding thing, and it's a comfort thing. And that's why, women like you who bear so much on the job, just so that they can be there for people who need them, that speaks volumes of your character, that you put so much on the line. You endured abuse yourself within, like at work, a taxpayer work, just so that you can be there for others. So that says about the giver nature that I know that you are. So yeah, thank you so much for doing that for all of us and making us feel so much better or safer for that many years you help women.
Thank you. It was, and then we talked about an incident that happened where it was definitely felt vulnerable and not empowered in the situation, felt more like a victim. And it was internal, with internal politics. I did a boudoir shoot with a different photographer. He was just starting his business with no contract and with no consent. All my pictures were posted. And somehow somebody within the police got hold of those pictures and they started distributing them. It was hard for me because first I didn't get permission.
Yeah.
And I was in charge of a bunch of men. And so then their take on how I am has now completely changed. And I did it to empower me. I didn't do it for them to be distributed amongst a whole bunch of men. And they saw me in one light, and the boudoir pictures, of course, are a different light.
Yeah.
Right? And for them, it's more of a sexual thing. So I did have a good partner who did tell, and a good supervisor who told the ones that they knew about it, told them that there was no consent, and that the pictures needed to be deleted off their phone, and there would be consequences if anyone else started distributing them. But it was so bad for me that I felt like I was ready to leave policing.
You shouldn't have had to feel that way, right?
Yeah. And my son is on the job. and there was somebody joking around about putting them all over my son's locker. So I actually spoke to a couple of people. I told them that if something like that happens, that is a type of harassment, and I would go forward with with a harassment complaint at that point. Thank goodness they didn't put them on my son's locker. His best friend told him about it, and then him and I had a conversation, which was a very difficult conversation because no, your 20-something-year-old son doesn't want to hear about his mom's boudoir.
But that was also an opportunity, the way you have raised him, to be like, okay, women are not just one thing.
Exactly.
And everything that we do is not necessarily for the pleasure of men.
So, and I explained to him that I'm like, do you know why those shoots are empowering shoots? Those shoots are for confidence in women and so you know who you are for yourself. It has nothing to do with being out there for men.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of men that don't see it that way.
Yeah. But, as long as there's amazing, educated, empowered moms like you, we can hope that, the future crop is going to be a better crop.
And that's where it all starts, right? Yes. It starts at home.
Yes. We were talking about it earlier too, that what you see, do, and hear at home is what you're going to be out there. Exactly. So yeah, you're doing a great job being all of these amazing things. And so now you have retired from the force.
Now I have retired from the force, yes.
And what's next for the needs now?
I don't know. I was telling you before, I'm hoping to do a competition for just a fitness competition. That's a lot of training for that, so we'll see what happens. I'm good with the meal prep and the planning and the training. I'm not so good at the posing.
So you can come to me. I can help you a little bit more. But that reminds me, I do have actually a couple of clients, and I have a friend who does training and for the contest, for fitness contest. So I think I've already been in touch.
Yeah, I do have a coach.
Yeah,
but and he's been great.
Yeah.
He definitely tells me when I'm slack.
So, couple of tips that you have for women who wants to go on this fitness journey. Let's put it there, and a couple of tips for women who are. Who may have an ambition of going into the force.
Well, for going into the force, they should know that 30 years ago, things have improved a lot. Again, there's not refusing to work with women anymore, that sort of thing. You're still a little bit different, but you're included more. And they also have supports for women now in the police services. So that's very good too.
Yeah.
And if policing is something that you want to do, they can always use women because the women's perspective on things is just a lot different than the male one. So it's always works out it's good to be able to bounce stuff back off of people. And we have a different way of dealing with things in our especially with our communication styles. So if that's what you want to do, absolutely go for it, because we need women, and we need women in the services as role models for the girls coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. And women who want to get started on a fitness journey,
and women who want to get fitness on a journey, just start. Just the motivation is probably not going to be there at first. Sometimes, there's no motivation, but you go to the gym anyways.
Okay.
And then you'll feel better afterwards. And once you feel better, then you're like, okay, that wasn't so bad.
Okay.
And then you go again. And it's a slow process. But the other thing is that you also realize that the gym is for you. Right? For me, it's been a bit of a stress relief, but it's something that you're doing for yourself to make yourself feel better, right? To get rid of your stresses or make you happy or just feel better about yourself as a person. So nobody else in the gym is judging you. even though we all think that they are.
Yeah.
But nobody is.
They're us, right?
It's us. We're prejudging. We're judging everybody else, thinking that they're judging us.
Yeah.
And they just want to do their workout and go home just as much as you do. It's just a lot harder because we feel like we're always being judged.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Denise, for this amazing conversation. This was a gift. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I know that there's so many women out there who are going to really get so much from it. And I can't wait to hear how you feel about, your the life decisions that you have made and the time you were just like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care what they think. Give me some examples, share your story, tell me how that just taking the step empowered you without worrying about what anybody else is going to think, and something that you did for yourself and then you're proud of. So leave a comment, share your story, tell me a bit about how you're doing big and great things in your life because you have the confidence to do those big and great things. And that's all that I have for you today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.